Walthamstow is famous for some wonderful transport firsts. The first ever British car was built in Walthamstow. It was built by Frederick Bremer in 1895. The first ever completely British aircraft flew in Walthamstow. It was built by Elliott Verdon Roe. The Avro Flyer flew on Walthamstow marshes in 1909, much to the amusement of the regulars at the pub on the bank of the River Lee. But did you know that the man who invented the most important vehicle ever made was born in Walthamstow? England, the late 18th century. With the coming of the Industrial Revolution, the English countryside was changed forever. People were swept off the land and forced to work in huge factories in order to survive. The new inventions of the day all produced pollution. Steam engines, factories, weaving looms, ships, railways, farming. Work was hard and life was grim. When you did get a day off, it was difficult to get away from these dark, satanic mills. Travel was expensive. A horse was expensive. Carriages were expensive, and trains were expensive. If you wanted to go anywhere, you paid a lot of money or you walked. The cycles of the day were expensive as well, and tended to be ridden by speed-mad hooligans. They were also rather dangerous and difficult to ride. Until John Kemp Starley came along. Ever heard of him? I didn't think so. J.K. Starley invented one of the most important forms of transport ever, the safety bicycle.
If I might just butt in here. You need a bicycle, you need a bicycle. It really is the business if you want to get around. You need a bicycle, you need a bicycle. It is the best way to perambulate, I have found. Need some bars at the front and a diamond frame, a crank in the middle, and the wheels are just the same. You need a chain from the crank connected to the wheel, and a big leather saddle for a nice comfy feel. You need a bicycle, you need a bicycle. It really is the business if you want to get around. You need a bicycle, you need a bicycle. It is the best way to perambulate, I have found. Put on some Dunlop tyres and a cheerful bell to ring. On a really bumpy road, this will take away the sting. It's ridden by those who are considered well-bred. It really is the most affordable thoroughbred. You need a bicycle, you need a bicycle. It really is the business if you want to get around. You need a bicycle, you need a bicycle. It is the best way to perambulate, I have found. They don't destroy the ground, they don't pollute the air. It's really great to feel the wind in your hair. You get there fast, and they make you fit. If you don't like a bicycle, then you are a twit.
John Kemp Starley was born on Church Hill, Walthamstow, on Christmas Eve, 1855. He was baptised at St Mary's Church on the 3rd of February, 1856. At the time, Walthamstow was a small village on the outskirts of London. But the railways were coming. As a boy, he was a studious child and took a keen interest in the new technology of the day, steam trains, and he would sketch detailed drawings of the working parts of steam engines. His uncle, James Starley, who ran a sewing machine company in Coventry, saw these drawings and was very impressed. The upshot was that J.K. was offered an apprenticeship with James Starley's company in Coventry. J.K. was taken under James's wing, and J.K. developed a friendly rivalry with James's son, William Starley. At this time, James Starley had invented and started manufacturing the first penny farthing cycles. These tended to be the preserve of rich, young, eccentric hooligans. Being really tall, most people found it difficult to get on a penny farthing. This got J.K. thinking about how to build a better bicycle. He left James Starley's employ to set up his own company, Starley and Sutton. The first Rover bicycle they produced had remote steering, far too complicated. The second version was simpler, but too delicate. The third version set the fashion to the world. The 1885 Starley and Sutton Rover safety bicycle consisted of a diamond-shaped frame, direct steering, both wheels the same size, and a chain-driven rear wheel powered by pedals. This basic design has remained unchanged for almost 150 years. JK never took out a patent on his design, so hundreds of companies copied his safety bicycle. The bicycle became a huge craze in the late 19th century. Dunlop's pneumatic tyre helped improve the ride. Roads were improved to cope with the huge amount of bicycles using them. The bicycle led to the biggest diversification of the gene pool in the world. People could travel further to fall in love.
Get on the bicycle of love, and heaven's above. You'll find a spouse, set up a house, and fly high like a dove. If life you wanna straddle, then jump up on the saddle of the bicycle of love. It's always said that in springtime, a young person's thoughts turn to love. But if you check out the local talent, they can often turn out to be a bit rough. And if you want to diversify the gene pool, finding someone new can be tough. So what you gotta do is seek out pastures new and get on the bicycle of love. Get on the bicycle of love, and heaven's above. You'll find a spouse, set up a house, and fly high like a dove. If you are LGBT, it'll be your cup of tea on the bicycle of love. Oh, Shakespeare always said that when you fall in love, you end up hearing bells in your ears. Those bells are on the handlebars of your bike, and love intensifies like changing gears. If you want to stay the distance on the road of life, you'll ride together through the years. And if you want to be married, there's no better way to be carried than on the bicycle of love. Get on the bicycle of love, and heaven's above. You'll find a spouse, set up a house, and fly high like a dove. There is no better way to exchange your DNA than on the bicycle of love.
Of course, JK didn't invent two-wheeled transport. The first device was the hobby horse, or Draisen, invented by Baron Karl von Drais in Germany. This was heavy, made of wood, with two wagon wheels, and was scooted along with the feet. Great for going down hills, but exhausting going up. In France, Pierre Michaud and the Olivier brothers attached a pedal crank to the front wheel of a hobby horse, and the velocipede was born. Again, it was heavy, but it was easier to propel than just your feet on the ground. In England, it was found that if you made the front wheel bigger, you could go a lot faster, and this is where James Starley's ordinary bicycle, or penny farthing, comes in. After that, it was down to J.K. Starley to make a bicycle that appealed to all. Women were able to travel and experience the world on their own for the first time, and the use of the bicycle influenced the fashion of the day. Riding the bicycle encouraged women to get out and get fit, and it also meant that they could go on trips and picnics unchaperoned. They could talk to each other without the presence of men, and this contributed to modern feminism and the suffrage movement. Suffrage bike riders flung themselves in front of Winston Churchill's car. Other suffragette cyclists rode from Land's End to John O'Groats to further their cause.
Here I am riding down the street. I'm on my bike and it's such a treat. I got the freedom of the neighborhood. I go anywhere and it feels so good. I'm a modern young woman on a bicycle, and I don't need a man to leave a lot that's full. Here I am as cool as an icicle. Women need men like fish need a bicycle. I go cycling on my own. I don't need a chaperone. I go cycling with my friends. We talk and talk, it never ends. I'm a modern young woman on a bicycle, and I don't need a man to leave a lot that's full. Here I am as cool as an icicle. Women need men like fish need a bicycle. Cycling keeps me young and fit. I don't stay home, just sit and knit. I don't need no big corset. These loose clothes are really it. I'm a modern young woman on a bicycle, and I don't need a man to leave a life that's full. Here I am, as cool as an icicle. Women need men like fish need a bicycle. We created the suffragettes. We want equality, you can bet. We may end up in prison. We created modern feminism. I'm a modern young woman on a bicycle, and I don't need a man to leave a life that's full. Here I am, as cool as an icicle. Women need men like fish need a bicycle.
In the late 1890s, bankers and financial speculators moved in on the burgeoning bicycle industry. They encouraged many manufacturers to sell shares in their companies in order to expand. And, when the craze died down, a lot of companies went out of business. One being James Starley's Aerial Bicycle Company, now run by his son William. I think it's time for a song.
We're bankers, and boy do we like to bank, we're bankers. If your life is right, you've us to thank. We gamble with your money and try to pay as little back. We'll lend you some moolah, but we make sure you pay top whack. We stoke up the markets to make money just for us, but if we go under, we cut and run without a fuss. We're bankers, and boy do we like to bank, we're bankers. If your life is right, you've us to thank. If a business gets in trouble, we'll do our best to shut them down, asset strip them, destroy them, and make sure they won't come round. But if you're big business, we'll give you a special rate and a small fry. We wipe out and leave them to their own fate. We're bankers, and boy do we like to bank, we're bankers. If your life is right, you've us to thank. If you need a loan, we'll ruddy well laugh in your face, but if you're a criminal, we'll launder money without a trace. A bank is based on trust, or so that's what they say, but you'd be better off putting your cash in a shoebox under the bed.
J.K. managed to avoid bankruptcy by being prudent in his business dealings, but died at the tragically young age of 46 in 1901. J.K.'s basic design looks almost like a modern-day bicycle. You cannot say this of other forms of transport. The Wright brothers' Flyer looks nothing like a modern aircraft. The first car developed by Carl Benz looks nothing like a modern car and much more like a horseless carriage. The bicycle has changed the lives of people all over the world and is going to be even more important in the future. The end.